So, ladies and gents, for those of you who don't know, when I was from the age of 11 to the age of 22, I was a beekeeper. So obviously I kept bees. Now, when my father passed away, I decided to inherit his bees and look after them and keep them going. And unfortunately, the first time I got stung, when I took them over, I found out I had anaphylaxis. Now, if you don't know what that means I have a severe allergic reaction to bee stings. I've been stung hundreds of times up until that point, but apparently you can build up venom in your system and until it just overflows and you become severely allergic. First time it happened, it was fairly bad. I was wearing a beekeeper's suit and I got stung and I was instantly sick, which is not good because I'd had quite a large meal of fish and chips, and the beekeeper's smock basically just gave me surround sound sick. It was like, oh no, I'm in it, and I couldn't take it off because the bees were there, so I had to kind of like waddle away and take it off. A world of puke, indeed. So there's no bees emote now. Yeah, that's the one. So I got to the hospital that time. It didn't take too long. I had to have some steroids, and they basically said like, yo, you're allergic now. Next time, it's going to be worse. And I was like, sure. And in my head, I was like, maybe it won't be. I mean, perhaps this was a one-off. And they were like, yeah, sure. Maybe it was a one-off. Now, the second time it happened, it'd been months in between, and I'd been stung in between and had no effect, so I was getting a bit slack, and I went to check on some bees and I got stung when a bee landed between my legs, and I moved my legs and it got squished in between the top of my thighs, like just below gooch, in the middle of my left thigh. And yeah, no, it's alright, pastry. Not gonad. It was just like really high thigh. Close call though. Close call to ball. Basically, I was like, oh, my breathing's starting to go a little bit funny. I think I'm gonna have an allergic reaction. What I'll do is, Wendy couldn't drive at the time. I said I'll drive Wendy home to my mum's house, and then my mum can drive me onto the hospital, because obviously I don't want to get halfway there and collapse in the car with Wendy in the car. It'd be bad. But my mum's house was considerably closer, so I drove to my mum's and got there and sat down and was like, Wendy, go get my mum. Now whatever you do, don't panic her, but you need to get her because I'm having an anaphylactic reaction to bees. And she was like, sure. Okay. So I sat in my room, and she was just gone for ages, just below gooch. That is exactly what I said. Too close for comfort, though. Yeah, it was definitely too close for comfort, indeed. So Wendy had gone for like 3 or 4 minutes, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? She came back, and she's like, yeah, your mum's now come in. And I was like, okay. Why is she taking her so long? And she's like, oh, well, she just says she's got to sort it on her computer first. And I was like, wait, what did you tell her? And you said, I went into her room and I said, don't panic, but Robert's not feeling very well. Can you come in here? And I was like, that's not what I said, Wendy. Please go get my mum now. My mum came in and could see I'd started to turn bright red. My head had started to swell up.
Think of all the yummy meat. Yum, yum, yum.
Indeed. Yeah, like, no rush, mate. Exactly. Shaun of the Dead style. Go get mum. Yeah, exactly. And my mum was like, oh god, he's having a bee reaction. Why didn't you say anything? When he was like, I'm sorry. We get in the car and we start driving there. However, we live near a coastal town where when it's hot, it's just... I'm downloading something. Can it wait? Exactly, picture. That's what my mum said. We were living in a coastal town, so the road gets really packed, and we were going up this hill called Knight's Hill. If I have the last Matrix movie on download, it can wait 15 minutes. Nope. So we were in the queue of traffic on the hill, and I was like, ring the ambulance, ring the hospital to let them know what's going on. And she was like, sure. And she was like, wait, what's the number for the ambulance? And I'm like, it's 999. She was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's it. That's that same number that we've been told the entirety of our childhood, because danger. And the ambulance weren't really... Well, they were helpful. However, they weren't helpful in calming Wendy down, because they were like, hello, yes, of course, we've got the hospital ready for him. Don't worry about that. However, he may stop breathing. If that's the case, pull over, call us again, we'll come get him. And she was like, oh, okay. So, why are you running this show when you're the one dying? Cyber-necromancer, I know. I was meant to be the one just chilling my shit out, not trying to fall into the bin. But that's just not how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Sometimes you've got to deal with your own shit. So we got to the hospital, but there's no parking at the A&E. So my mum had to kick me out of the thing. And Wendy was getting out as well, but Wendy was taking... characteristically standing a long time to get out of the car. My seatbelt was already undone when I was like pulling into the place, and I was like crawling out the door. My head at this point was like twice the size. I looked like a beetroot that had escaped from some kind of factory. Making a secret garden is shit, exactly. Stumbled in there and like walked into the entrance, and the lady was like, oh, you must be the guy that's allergic to bees. I was like, oh, yes, bees. And she was like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Can you tell me your address? And I'm like, no, bees. And she was like, where was that? And I'm like, and I just shoved her away and was just like, right, I'm heading off into the hospital now. I will find someone to help fix this. Make me better. I'm literally sliding down the inside bag of the bin now. I'm on my way out. Yeah, that's me. I'm doing a little bit of dying right now. That's the one. That's me. And basically I got in there and I could tell how bad I was, because there was a nurse who was like, a guy was like, had a big cut like all the way along the top of his head, down the side of his face, not near to his eye, and he was like bleeding. There was a flap of skin there, and she was trying to like stop the bleeding, and she looked at me and she went, okay, you need to come with me. And I was like, oh, bees. And she was like, oh, you're allergic to bees. Oh, bees. And she grabbed hold of my arm and she was like, no pressure here, but you can't fall over right now, because I need to put a cannula in you while you're walking, because you're really bad. And also, it was at the stage chat where I was at like near my heaviest. I was like 23, 24 stone. I was a chunky. I looked like Robotnik. So she was like, if you fall, I haven't got time to go and get a wheelchair for you. You got a fucking... What the fuck is 23 stones? If you type stones to pounds pastry in Google, you will find out how chunky I was. I think it's like nearly 150 kilos? More than that, maybe? A lot, anyway. Especially for my height, because I'm like literally just 6 foot. So she was like, just don't fall over. And the nurse was brilliant, and she was like, £14 to a stone. Yeah, indeed. That's alright, pastry. That's alright, Furby, you were shouting. It's £14 to a stone! So she was like, don't fall over. Keep going. And I was like, okay. I was like stumbling around, and I was like, and if you haven't had anaphylaxis, everyone, it is horrible, because literally just everything inflates. You feel like sleepy, you feel terrible, you get sickness. Thankfully, all the times I've had anaphylaxis, which is 3 times now, you meant to have severe diarrhea, and to a guy in a white jumpsuit beekeeping suit, I appreciate the fact that it never brought on that. So thanks at least Karma for getting that one safe. Just get angry when anything else was stone is. It's okay, Furby, it's okay. So I stumbling towards this like bed, and I was just like got on the bed. Suddenly loads of doctors and nurses were around and were like, that guy, he in the bin. And they gave me a shot of epinephrine or whatever it was. It was adrenaline, basically. And I was like, sat there, and then this doctor came in. He's like, oh, "Hello, sir. What are you allergic to?" And I'm like, bees. At that point, Wendy finally caught up with me because she'd been tied up with the guy in the entrance because she was giving all my information away, like to him, so that person could actually log me on the system. And gee willikers, this is hearing a man about to fucking kick his fellas. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Wendy was out there doxing me. She was indeed. So she came in, and it was me. She's like, "What was that?" "Bees." "I'm sorry, what?" "Bees." I'm sorry, I can't eat bees. And I said, like, under my breath, I was like, I grabbed hold of Wendy. I was like, "Tell him or I'm gonna kill him." And he was like, "Please, sir, don't be aggressive." And I'm like, "Oh, it's bees. It's just bees." She was like, "Oh, sorry." He says it's bees. He says it's bees. And she's like, "Oh, okay, fair enough." At that point, they had a cannula in both arms at that point. And so they were like, "Okay, he's not reacting to the first lot of adrenaline. We need to give him another lot." They gave me another lot. And my throat was still starting to close. It got to the horrible point, chat, where it was literally my breath was like... There was not enough breath going in to maintain anything. And I was starting to get sleepy. That's exactly it. I'm sorry, I really can't understand this guy with your massive neck. Could you try again? Yeah, exactly. I just need to deflate myself. Because I kind of look like, on the classic film Blade, where they get hit by the thing and their heads implode. Yeah, that's what I was like. I was like one of them. So they were like, "Right, we need to give you another shot of adrenaline. We need to make sure this works. But we're getting close to the point where if we give you another one, you might have a stroke. But if you don't have it, you might not be able to breathe. You need to say, like, if you're happy with us to proceed." And I was like, "Bees, go! Give me the fucking drugs!" And they gave me this other shot. And the problem is, when you have that much adrenaline in your system, you get a raging boner because your blood supply just goes. And they took off my trousers. And you know what? At that point, I was like, "It's medical professionals here." But my body's telling me yes. Gotta be how. Of course, this story's going in this direction. Bee boners. Why would this story go in this direction? It's a Rob story. Look. It's not my fault. This is just how my life is. I honestly, I try and pick up my post in the morning, and before you know it, sex pandas. I don't know how it works. It just happens. So anyway, there was me on this gurney, trousers down, like stalk on, wearing my pants, trying to like pitch the tent where the pole doesn't come out. You know how I mean. Did they treat you under a bridge? They did not, pastry. They did not. And then he was like, "Where were you stung?" And I was like, had to show him like the near gooch area, and I was like, "Oh, there you go, please don't look at my dick." So at that point, my mum had parked the car and then was trying to get in the room, and I was like, get her out, bees, get her going, please, bees." And she was like, she thought I was dying and was trying to get me away, so she was like, let me in. I was like, "Please get her out of here, bees." And it was just not a good time. I probably rate it on TripAdvisor 1.5 stars out of 5. That's my bee story basically. Thankfully the epinephrine worked, and I didn't have a stroke. And I'm not dead. Yeah, I'm dead now. Did you make it? Rip Rob. That's it. Saw doesn't swear words. Beautiful. Hopefully Saw doesn't swear words. It lived up to its reputation. And that's one of the reasons why whenever Grace sees me, she just runs over to me. It's like, "Rob, bees!" Gee, yeah, indeed. But on a serious note, guys, I'm crying, mate. Good. I am really glad to hear it. That sounded a bit more, bit more shanky than that. Thank you for that, Grace. It's more than my pleasure. But Corbantor, beautiful. Good shit. And welcome, noobs. Hey, noobs. Glad you're here for that. Pick up that post. Pick up the post. Oh no, sex pandas. But one thing I will say, thank you very much to the staff of Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and I will say that unfortunately one of the nurses, the nurses who was dealing with said boner stuff, was actually the father of one of my closest friends, and noobs will now know who that is. And that's why Pip's wedding was awkward. So yeah, first time I've heard that story. Yep, indeed. Maelstrom says, Rob, Discord. Oh, Jesus wept. What have you done? Oh, no. I try and pick up my post in the morning, and before you know it, sex pandas. Can we have a poll? Do we need a sex pandas sound effect? Oh, fucking hell. Fucking love you, bud. Indeed. I always love that story, no matter how many times I get to hear it. Well, love you all. But what I'm going to say, chat, I'm going to use this time, this B story moment, to basically highlight, A, how grateful I am to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and all of the staff that kept me alive on that day, because it was very serious, and spotting the signs of anaphylactic shock. It could be nuts, it could be bees, it could be so many things, but you can break out in hives, you starts to have problems breathing, you can have vomiting, diarrhea, I had collapse, and I also went blind at one point during one of my anaphylaxis. So it's all things to look out for, and what you got to do is try and keep the person calm. If they have an EpiPen, get it, and if they need help them to use it on themselves. And an EpiPen is basically a small epinephrine shot, and if you can catch it early enough, it'll stop the anaphylactic effect from kicking in, and you basically get it, you take off the... Dell, it's not the time. And you take off the lid and you push it into the thigh, and that's how you use an EpiPen. And some of them are different. You can read the manual. What I would do is check the manual first, because if it's a different one, you don't want to like spunk it away and not save the person's life. Be like, sorry, I've broken your only EpiPen. Enjoy the bin. But yeah, check it out. Yeah, so that's my B story. Counter pastry. Heck, you really put this to a poll. You know how it ends. Okay. As it's story time. What's a spooning boffer? What? Oh, spooning bothy. Okay, that's a story for another time. We haven't got time for another. We'll maybe try and cut it down to a story thing. But yeah, bothies. I'll tell you about the spooning bothy at some point. Special shout out to Rob's mum for managing to download that movie. We were really happy for her. Yeah, she enjoyed Matrix 2. It's good. Also, Rob, I'll give you a bonus one. You'll enjoy it.